Hello fellow beekeeping YouTubers. This is my inspection video 2.0. It's been a while since I've been in the hive, so it's been I think 2 whole weeks since I opened it up, and I'm going to still do my crappy phone photography single-handed. But we're going to try to see how this works out. We're going to do a inspection all the way down to the bottom brood box and see how everybody's doing as far as rebuilding and building back up since I've added the extra frames. Remember from the last video when we opened it up, there was plenty of honey in the top, and then there was a little bit of building and brood in the middle, and I didn't go all the way down to the bottom because I didn't feel like I needed to, since I saw eggs and brood and honey and pollen. But this time I'd like to go all the way down and see how things are going. So I've got my smoker and I'm in my full suit since I don't know how this is going to go. And then obviously if you guys have any comments or questions, please do. Since my channel is growing, I'm going to go ahead and put this on the front end of the video, but I never intended for this to be any kind of major subscription thing. This was just really a way to document what I'm doing, but I have gotten a few subscribers as I've been doing this, and I love the questions I get when people have questions. So if you would go ahead and subscribe or like the channel, click the little bell. I update maybe once a week or once every 2 weeks, so this won't be spamming your inbox or anything, but you can kind of keep an eye on how the hive is doing, and I love to have questions. And so anyway, if you can, go ahead and subscribe and like the channel, I would appreciate it. If you know anybody that likes these kind of videos or has questions about the flow hive or backyard beekeeping, or I'm a lone single hive beekeeper, and I'm in a very cul-de-sac area, backyard beekeeping, so this is not your stereotypical bee channel, but I think people like the idea of backyard beekeeping, and I'm trying to take some of the fear out of it and give some education around it. So anyway, enough said. I'm gonna put on my other glove here real quick. I'm gonna go ahead and smoke the hive, give the bees a little welcome, let them know we're gonna be coming in, and then I only have I have a mesh bottom board, so just smoking it under the bottom goes ahead and gets into the hive as well. And lets them know we're coming in. The psychology around the smoker is basically the bees think that the hive is on fire, and so they go and try to get nectar and honey from inside to keep it from being lost to a fire. But because of that, they get fat and happy and docile, so they're not likely to sting or defend in the midst of that. So if you smoke it and then give it a couple minutes, you're sending that alarm to let them go in, and you're giving them a second to go ahead and get those resources, but that also buys you some time to get ready to open up the hive, but then they'll be less aggressive whenever you do open it. So I need my hand for a second to put on my glove, so I'm going to set the phone down. I apologize. You don't need gloves. In my hive, for the most part, is very docile, so it's definitely not a necessity, but it's something that in this season where I'm still learning, I would like to get stung as little as possible, and even though they are docile, I want to do my part to make sure I'm not setting them up for being aggressive or give them a reason to be mad. So a little smoke helps do that. Oh my gosh, there's a huge beetle population. That's not great. Look at this. There's so many beetles on the top of this. That's really not great. So I've got my little hive tool. We're just going to kill as many of these as possible. Not great. It's making the bees work. It's not good for the hive. Puts them on the defensive. Really not great. There's a spider in here that's also, I think, trying to kill the beetles too, but yeah. So that was unfortunate. Sorry, my videography while I'm killing beetles is not the best. So what the bees do, just so you can see, is they round them up, and they try to round them up into corners. And so, like, all these beetles are right here in the corner here, and I'm just gonna squish them and kill them. But what they're probably doing is building larvae in the cracks, which is not great. Not great. Alright. Well, that was a start. I'm going to set this down for a second. And you know what? I'll check on it before I put it back in. So in the meantime, I'll come over here and check inside on the flow frames. I am gonna puff a little bit of smoke in here just to get them docile. There's not a huge population up here, it doesn't look like. And unlike several weeks ago, it has not rained in here the way it has in past weeks. So there shouldn't be a huge sweat, like wood swelling or anything like that, to get the frames out. Take this off. This just gives me a little bit of a grip point. Do what I was doing before and kind of slide under this. Gives me an anchor to pull up. Oh wow. Wow, look at you guys. Alright, so this is very full. Trying not to crush any bees under here because they're on the bottom. So, trying to hit this. Sorry, videography is not great, but I don't want to kill any bees. I will sacrifice some video skill to not kill a bee. So, if you remember from the video from last week, this was not this full. It definitely had honey in it, but it was not this full. This is almost full. Like, fully capped, edge to edge. I mean, this is probably, if I really wanted to, this would be drainable. But from an observation window side, you'll notice there's nothing on this outside window. This is where we would be looking to see if it's full, and obviously it is, but not from the outside. So, we look down, just look in the window here, you'll see that outside frame is still, as far as, I mean, 99% of it is empty. This other one, just the little top, maybe inch, has honey in it. So I'm gonna go ahead and replace this one, put it back in there. That is awesome. So they're doing good. I'm gonna check this outside-most one as well. And just see what we have here. I don't think this is a recommended way to pull frames or anything, but trying to do this one-handed, it's working, so I'm gonna call it a win. Alright, wow, yeah, these outside ones are really good too. So this outermost one is almost completely full, not quite to the edge, and then this one almost completely full, and then from this side you can see it has that same rainbow pattern that you'd expect from a brood frame, where they would put the honey around the outside and then leave that bottom side for eggs. So they're not completely filled up yet, but you can definitely see that it is filling. So I'm going to replace this back in the hive. As far as that top box, that's actually all the information I need. They are adding a lot of honey resources. And then what I'm going to try to do is make some room over here on this table so that I can move that box. Clean it off here because the bottom typically has propolis and things like that that'll stick if there's straw and all that. Sorry, breathing in some of the smoke from the smoker. And set that off to the side. Alright, so I'm going to insert my hive tool here in the corner. One of the nice features of the Flow Hive boxes, see this little notch right here. It's real easy to get the flow frame or the hive tools into. And these hive tools actually come with the Flow Hive if you get the kit. So that's always really nice. Step around. Let's do the other corner here. Okay. And last but not least, okay. We should be good. I'm going to do what I did last week and set you guys up for the ride. We're just gonna do that. And hey, this time the screen excluder didn't come with it, so that's always good. I'm just going to take this off gently. And even though there were a ton of beetles in that top box, I didn't notice any inside of those flow frames, which is good. So they're not using those frames as a way to breed or use the beetles as a way to get in the hive or drive off the bees. That's always a fear. Let's see. I have another empty frame still. So they've not built up into this box. Oh no, I didn't bring my frame holders over here, so that's not great. Alright, let's find, this was the one that was building up last week. It had a little bit of comb on it, or 2 weeks ago it had some comb on it. It looks like it still has pretty much the same comb size. Doesn't look like they've added to this at all. So no real growth on there. Check this outermost one here. We've got some nectar that they're adding into this frame that wasn't here 2 weeks ago. So they're actually adding additional stores up here. No eggs though. Let's check the back here. Now somebody called out on my video last week or 2 weeks ago this queen cell, and I hadn't noticed it when I was just panning through. So I'm going to show this a little bit more in detail. I got to flip the bottom over so I can actually see, but I think it's just an empty, like, future cell, like not one that they've laid a queen in, but just in case. So let's see. Yeah, it's an open cell. There's no royal jelly in there. It's not an active queen cup. It's just a just in case cup, which is good. That's not a bad thing. So we're gonna check this one here. Oh, gotta get this off so that there's no, so it's not attached. There we go. Alright, so again, what we're always looking for is larva, brood, eggs, a queen, something just showing that the hive is okay. I see a lot of nectar in here. So they are finding lots of nectar sources. I don't see any eggs. Now these are majority worker cells, so if the queen had been up here, there would be a lot of worker eggs and brood up here, but I don't see any. Lots of nectar. You can see the glimmer kind of shine off of the nectar in these. That's almost full. Here's a single larva. Oh, where's it at? Here we go. So one larva down there in the bottom. The rest of this is cap brood that will probably hatch in the next couple of days. And then nectar, nectar, nectar. Okay. Now this next frame is completely empty. There's no building at all on there. And these 3 frames in the top, there's no building at all up here. So that worries me a little bit because they obviously have resources. So I don't know what they're building or why they're not building up. Whoa, okay. Let's keep an eye out for a queen on this one because there's a lot of brood. I see a lot of brood. I don't see any eggs. I do see some larvae. I see a lot of larvae. And these are worker cells. I'm switching hands here so that I can look at the other side. A lot of larvae. A lot of brood. Alright, so these are some bees here. You can see where they're just now capping some of these. So these larvae should be ready in a couple weeks. There is nectar on the outside. Still don't see, I see a lot of larvae. Larva, larva, larva. A lot of larvae. Sorry, I'm just moving them off of this pattern here. So well, that's pretty solid as far as that goes. No complaints there. So I'm going to put this back in just like I found it. Alright. The rest of that's empty. So no harm, no foul. Everything's good in there. So I'm going to set you guys down for a second over here while I move this next brood box. And I have not opened this since I added the brood box before. This is the first time that I've opened up this this brood box in like a month. I think it's been about that long since I added this second brood box. It is sealed. Goodness. Just trying to get in there. Sorry, I don't know what your view is right now because you're just looking at the bee frame, but the between the top box and the middle box, there's a lot of propolis, and it's pretty solidly glued. I'm using the frame tool to try to get in here.